This is the Custard TV Podcast.
Your ears do not deceive you. This is the Custard TV Podcast.
Your ears do not deceive you. You're so dramatic.
Well, it's a new year. I thought I'd try something else.
Okay, well, he's absolutely right. Your ears may not deceive you, your eyes are not telling you lies, and your knees are pleased. We're back for a new year. It's 2013. It's the first...
But my ankles are a scumbag.
You need to see a doctor. It's 2013 and we're back with the Custard TV Live, joined as ever by the 2013 version of Gary.
Good evening.
And the 2013 version of Matt.
Hello, how are we?
I've got actually an interesting New Year's resolution, Matt, this year.
Have you?
At no point during the Custard TV Live, this very podcast, will I refer to you as Matthew Donnelly.
Oh, well, you've spoiled it now.
Except for just then.
Yeah, I was going to say, apart from that moment just there when you did.
No, that is the only moment that I
Maybe we should give Matt like a cool nickname, like Surge or...
Scumbag.
Surge.
I don't know.
Okay, so...
We'll try a few out throughout the show.
If you only heard this show last year, it's so last year, then you'll perhaps have forgotten that what we do is we talk about the best and the worst on the box. We get you involved with your with our Twitter question and just general social media question, and we hope that in 45 minutes we'll have a giggle, which is never guaranteed, but always.
I haven't written any giggle material this year, I'm afraid.
No. Well, that's probably more likely that we'll have a giggle then, I'd imagine.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay, so first of all, how much TV do you think you watched over Christmas, Gary?
Well, I was working a lot, so actually not as much as previous years.
What about MD?
Sorry?
What about Scumbag? How much did he watch?
No, Surge. We're going to go with Surge for the first.
Go with Surge. Power Surge.
Yeah, predictably I watched quite a lot. As you know, I'm paid to write about TV, so yeah, I watched a lot.
There's funding to do this? What? There's funding to write about television? I didn't know that.
I get a little bit.
The thing is, every year people say Christmas telly is terrible. And every year I come on and I wear my Christmas telly badge and I say, no, you know what, it's nice. It's nice to have a bit of a change.
Do you know, I noticed something very different. This is probably the first year I've noticed it, although I'm sure it's not the first year it's happened, is the absence of the big Christmas movie has meant that the BBC and the ITV tried a lot harder to put new programmes on over Christmas, things that you'd never seen before. Christmas used to be about movies, but actually it wasn't.
Yeah, like Wrestlers, do you mean, and things like that? And
yeah, and Ripper Street starting on the in between Christmas and New Year and things like that. You know, new Call the Midwife, new Downton Abbey.
Just saying about wearing my Christmas badge, I usually defend Christmas telly as much as I defend the turkey and the roast spud. But this year's Christmas telly, for me at least, I'm just speaking for me, because that's the only person I talk to on a regular basis. And
apart from a psychiatrist.
I was really, genuinely upset and disappointed.
Really?
By what was on offer. And you know, of course, it wasn't a huge disappointment because we knew what was going to be on because we had the Custard TV website to tell us and the Radio Times for those who still like to thumb through physical magazines. But I was really disappointed. There was nothing that stood out for me apart from a few things that surprised me. But on the whole, the major things like the Royal Family, Downton Abbey, all those things that they'd planned for Christmas, major disappointments for me.
I think there was a lack of pizzazz on Christmas Day. And I think that's what tends to make it. We've now got quite a settled schedule on Christmas Day. You know, Doctor Who. You know, from on BBC One. You know, Top of the Pops, The Queen, a film, a kids' film, Doctor Who, EastEnders Part 1, Call the Midwife or something. EastEnders Part 2. Then it was Royal Family. So it was kind of settled and set
Strictly
quite early.
as well. You missed that.
Yeah, sorry, Strictly I've missed out as well. So it was, and there was nothing really. I mean, there was certainly nothing out of the ordinary.
The Queen hasn't been the same since Freddie Mercury died. But
right.
It's just, you know, it's just something.
She was in 3D this year. Did you know that?
I did, but I haven't got a 3D telly, so I just watched regular 2012 2D.
And moved your face closer every time she moved nearer you.
Yeah, I licked her like she was a virtual stump. That's what I did.
Should be locked up. And ITV didn't really seem to. I don't think I watched much of ITV on Christmas Day.
My mum watched For the Love of Dogs, so that was. I think she likes looking at dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
Just pictures
But
of
she'd have
dogs.
watched that regardless of whether it was on Christmas or not, really.
Yeah,
wouldn't she?
probably.
I watched the last episode of The Killing on Christmas Day. Killing 3.
There's nothing more festive than a
Very
good.
No, I know.
But
But and then for New Year I watched the last episode of Homeland series 2. So I mean I just kind of caught up on things that I hadn't caught up on. I didn't really, as you say, there wasn't really anything that grabbed me.
Well, let's just go through. I had a couple of suggestions because we set out this social media question of what was your biggest Christmas disappointment. Guess who got in touch? Can anybody guess?
The Queen.
No, she's busy going on 3D. She don't do podcasts.
I tell you, if it wasn't Lauren Jones, I'm off now.
It was Lauren Jones.
Yeah, fans of the show,
Lauren
I'm staying.
Jones, I'll have you know. She got in touch to say EastEnders for her was a major disappointment. We don't tend to talk soap so much on the podcast, but I am an EastEnders viewer, and I know exactly what she means. It was completely daft, and yes, you're absolutely right, as always. Lauren of Jones.
I was forced at gunpoint to watch an episode of EastEnders. I think it was a couple of days prior to Christmas when Kat and Alfie split up and Derek Branning, is that right?
He's pretending he doesn't know. He's a massive fan.
But he hadn't died yet, but it was obvious he was going to die. And it was just the same old EastEnders, depressing, turgid, and a bit too real life for my liking. Which is why I don't watch it.
I watched EastEnders as well on Christmas Day. It's sort of a tradition, but for all the Christmas specials I've seen, it's probably the worst. I think anyway. I don't know, Luke. I know you're a fan. Don't know if you can think of a worst.
I'm not a fan of EastEnders. You sort of it's like being a fan of putting the rubbish out. You have to do it.
Do you think the thing is now in this kind of internet, spoilerous age? There's just no surprises in EastEnders that you can do, particularly Christmas, because of course the newspapers go mad over it.
Well, again, I don't want to talk about soaps too much, but they particularly
this was a big
EastEnders
surprise,
now,
hadn't they? Picked it up as a surprise.
The thing with EastEnders is they seem to be going round in a massive circle now.
Very soon, Arthur will steal from the Christmas Club again, yeah?
Yeah, and Wellard's coming back soon as well.
Brilliant. What about Dr. Clegg, now that he's once he's finished being the Deputy Prime Minister?
He's
Dr. Clegg.
Leg, sorry.
I've got some more suggestions for the social media question as well. Helen going along with the EastEnders saying she wasn't happy that Derek didn't get murdered because it's the norm for EastEnders. Nobody dies of natural causes on Christmas Day.
Yeah, let's have some death.
Yeah.
Run someone over with a car.
Suggested the Royal Family Christmas special.
I don't watch it, but I'm guessing, Luke, that'll be in your top 3 disappointing things over Christmas.
No, it was the worst piece of Christmas telly I think I've seen for a long time.
There you go.
And Cecilia suggested Dragon's Den, surprisingly. She said it's not the best she's ever seen.
Do you know what? The last series was pretty poor.
I think it's just the Christmas special she's referencing. There was
I think Dragon's Den is due for a refit, or it's going to just drift.
Yeah.
Jenna Hull got in touch to say Dan Stevens leaving Downton Abbey. Very disappointed that he wasn't staying loyal to the show that made him. Thanks, Jenna.
But then he's been killed off, which is what you wanted. In your those complaining about EastEnders. He got killed in a dramatic. I mean, I spoke to my mum and I said, "What was your biggest thing over Christmas?" She said, "All Downton."
What you do is
but I didn't like the last 2 minutes.
Christmas.
I know. No, but she said Downton, apart from the last 2 minutes, was great.
And
a lot of people complained that Downton wasn't Christmassy this Christmas.
Because it wasn't set around Christmas.
No.
But like Call the Midwife, which I did watch, and that was all set around like teenage mothers and destitute old women. And it's just like, Happy Christmas.
But
then you've got Miranda organising a nativity play in the middle of it to cheer everyone up.
Well,
Call the Midwife.
Matt knows.
Oh, I see.
Matt knows this, but there was one surprise for me this Christmas, and we will move on. It is 2013. We're not going to talk about Christmas for half an hour. But Mr. Stink, with Hugh Bonneville, written by David Williams, adapted from his book. Not for my age demographic, not something I'd have thought my family would be getting to like over Christmas with the Ferrero Rochers. I think partly we enjoyed it because we were so full from Christmas Day, we were unable to even change the channel, because the movement would have been too much for us. So Mr. Stink was really good. I have to say, not much praise for the Snowman and the Snow Dog, which I sort of liked for nostalgia reasons.
But again, you see, I think there's just a bit of an overload there. I think there was just there's so many channels, so many choices. It's hard to pin down something like that.
Although it did get like 6.3 million viewers, so
yeah.
I found the idea of a snow dog difficult to believe. We just know snowmen, but I just don't think if you had snow,
a sequel too far. So Luke, your kind of surprise hit was Mr. Stink. Matt, what was yours? What did you like over Christmas that you didn't think you were going to like, or that surprised you?
Wasn't much. I mean, Restless, I really enjoyed the first episode of, but I thought it fell down in the second episode.
The acting of that really irritated me. That's why I didn't. Yeah.
Something that actually surprised me, maybe just because it was on over Christmas, and maybe because I wasn't in the mood for something sort of very serious, was Panto on ITV. I don't know if either of you caught that.
Look, I watched the first. I watched the first half an hour and then got distracted. But I did like where it was going. It was a John Bishop thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I had a good supporting cast. Mark Benton and Samantha Spiro were in it, and Chesney Hall.
Sheridan Smith, who has to be in everything.
It either has to be Sheridan Smith.
I mean, it's just sort of very festive and just. It's just of the period, and you don't want something awfully taxing, do you? Or like very depressing.
See,
I just thought
it
was
enjoyable. The thing that I liked was the return of superstars. I said it on the preview that we did at the end of last year. Okay,
you meant the Dawn French Andrew Lloyd Webber thing for a minute.
No. That was Superstar, wasn't it?
Yes,
I
can see
Superstars.
See why I'd make the mistake, though. Bless me.
You could indeed, yes. Just because it was different and it was a childhood memory, that used to be on, and I believe that it did quite well. And there's even some talk of them making a few more episodes. And this to me is the BBC looking to build on that Olympic legacy. We talked about it. Is don't just put them all on reality shows. Put them on shows that shows their athletic ability. That's how you don't put them dancing, skating, or touching a van or something. Put them on a reality show. Put them on a show that shows them as athletes. Well, what was it? Touch the Truck or something. I'm surprised they haven't done a celebrity version of that.
Okay, so we'll go back. You raised a very interesting and worthy point about the Olympic legacy, which will feature heavily in a conversation very shortly. But
okay,
I have to say, and I've not really keeping this information hidden, but I haven't shouted about it. Up until November of this year, I lived in the States. I know, get over it. I'm here now in the UK.
What?
Matt, did you know about that?
No, I thought he was in Australia.
Oh, I thought he was in France.
Up until November of this year, I lived in the States. And I always liked, because I watched the UK
I'm over here now looking for you.
I always liked... Bless you. I always liked the beginning of a new year, because it always signified the start of all the new series, the new schedules were out, and I have to be honest, 2013, technically we're in week 2 of the way the television schedule is structured, and I've said it before on Twitter, I'm going to say it again, ITV's lineup for 2013, or at least January of 2013, is the worst I have known it. ITV are in a mess, as far as I'm concerned, program-wise. The BBC are offering a little bit better. We've got Ripper Street, which I'm growing to enjoy. We've got Silent Witness back for fans of that. Channel 4 have got all their sort of mainstays like One Born Every Minute and decent documentaries on. What is going wrong, in your opinion, with ITV, or do you not even share that opinion?
I share the opinion, but the honest answer is I've felt this about ITV for a long, long time. They're tired. They are old material. I mean, I was actually reasonably excited about the return of Lewis last night because it was something different. From the
but it's not, is
stuff
it?
they've
It was
been putting. No, but that's what I'm saying.
Lewis.
But it's different to what they've been putting out, but it's not different to what they've put out in the past. But it wasn't a reality show. It wasn't a contestant show, or it wasn't, Downton. It was completely different drama.
Using Saturday Night as an example. Now, I'm not saying the BBC did anything better with their first Saturday of the New Year, because they went for a Richard Hammond sort of candid camera thing, which was just horrendous in all its forms, and Claire Balding with Britain's Brightest. But I'm surprised Matt's here today, because on Saturday morning I asked him if he would very kindly sit through and then review ITV's new diving reality series Splash. He's here. He survived it. Just sum up for us, Matt. How terrible that was. That was disaster. Yeah. It was a disaster from the very idea.
From the time Vernon Kay, you saw him in his shorts saying, "The atmosphere here in Luton is electric."
Nothing apart from the power stations. Nothing about Luton has ever been described.
Possibly the static from when Omid Jalali dropped in the water.
And it's very dangerous electricity around water, isn't it?
Yeah, very true.
That was the only thing that would have kept me watching.
They should have called it Celebrity Come Dive With Me, really. But
yeah.
That
would have been good.
Different about it then.
Come dive.
But yeah, it was just all very. The only thing actually, and I said this in my review, saving grace for me was actually Tom Daly. Fair enough, he's not much of a personality, but he actually, was doing what he was meant to do, which was trying to teach these celebrities trying, to dive.
Do you know what reminded me?
It didn't really work. And sorry, go on.
No, sorry, I'm just saying, I just have to jump in about the Tom Daly thing. He totally reminds me of a David Beckham type character.
Yeah. Someone who's very sincere, but
obviously a very nice bloke, but as dull as dishwater when it comes to television. And obviously he's liked because the girls like him because he's practically naked on television, let's face it.
I mean, this could be a controversial comment, but I think a lot of these Olympic people that they've tried to make TV stars since the successes of the summer.
Yeah.
Have proven that again. They're great at what they do. Nobody could ever knock them for their achievements. But just because they're good at something doesn't mean you have to make them TV stars.
Like Victoria Pendleton on Strictly, for example.
Exactly.
But then Lewis Smith was, I thought, because he won it, obviously, but, he had a bit of personality. There are a few that have, but I can see your point. And as well, on Sunday night, we had Dancing on Ice, and Beth Tweddle was on that, and I think she's going to be another Victoria Pendleton.
But another, you've got the boxer, haven't you, as well? I can't remember his name on that as well.
Is it Luke something?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I think Luke.
I find Luke's instantly forgettable. But the thing is, Matt, this was compared recently in something I read to ITV's other great reality brainwave, which you might forget.
Celebrity Wrestling.
Now, don't you have a now? Hold on a minute.
Don't.
A close personal friend of mine was on Celebrity Wrestling.
Who's that?
So it was the referee, Steve. I've done shows with him. No, I think you're right. The problem is, and here was the problem was, okay, because of the FA Cup, Splash was on at about 7:15, 7:45.
It was meant to. It started about 5 minutes later. It was about 7:20 it started. Yeah, but it didn't start that late.
Well, but what I'm saying is, I think this is a 6 o'clock ITV show, not a 7 o'clock one. Okay. I think the fact that it was on at more prime time probably caused it to be a little bit more derided by Twitter and the reviewers.
And the other thing,
go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
The other thing is diving. It only takes about 30 seconds or less than that. It's not like singing or dancing or skating or anything like that. It's just they jump into the water and that's it. And there were 6 people doing that over an hour and a half show.
And then we're going to get, do we get another 6 for another couple of weeks, and then we get a final?
Yeah, I think there's 2 more heats and then a semi-final. They were saying semi-final, weren't they? I think on Saturday night.
Yeah.
So I think there's a semi-final and a final. And I think big stars like Joey Essex, I think we've got to look forward to.
Not the Joey Essex.
The Joey Essex.
But what I can't understand as well is that why did they make them effectively? And the first one that came on was the one out of the Sugar Babes, who effectively was wearing a bikini.
Yeah, and they didn't give her a towel all evening.
No, that was the thing.
Bikini.
But do you think they've actually paid some of these people to say, "Come on, and don't wear much, will you, please?" Because we need the viewers.
They were out the pool and into that warm pool within 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And that bloke from Benidorm as well, who I have to say, they did a big thing about him being afraid of water because of the tsunami. It's not very Saturday night entertainment, is it?
From what I understood of it, they were all afraid of water or heights. Perfect for diving.
You know how much we love getting on this podcast. Matt and I have spent many an hour talking just getting on. But why has Jo Brand demeaned herself by...
I know, I said that on Twitter. I thought she was better than this. Because she did that programme, didn't she, on Dave?
She did... Oddly, I think it was called Jo Brand's Big Splash.
Yeah, or something like that. I don't know. I mean,
I think they missed a trick in not getting Peter Kay. If you remember the Boddington's adverts or whatever it was, where he did the diving, or even Barry from EastEnders, who recently did an advert about diving. They could have chosen I mean, and the thing is, the judges were just the most I've forgotten them already. There was Tom Daly's trainer, and he was a bit harsh, and then there was a diver who didn't also win gold, and he was a bit harsh, and then Joe Brand was too nice.
I think the problem with all these shows, like Splash and like Dancing on Ice and stuff, is that everybody involved takes it far too seriously. If they just came on and go, oh, well, you just did a dive and you're a celebrity and da-da-da, and just had a good laugh at them doing it good or badly.
I think Omid Jalili didn't take it too seriously.
I know, but I can't stand him regardless of what he's
neither
doing.
did Head and Lederer. She didn't take it seriously at all. The comedians. But as well, far too much screaming.
Yeah.
For my liking. Far too many prepubescent girls screaming.
How much did they pay that studio audience? Honest to goodness. How much?
They probably just promised them signed photos of Tom Daly.
I reckon they said scream if you want to scream whenever you want to leave. And then lock the doors. But everyone I spoke to on Saturday prior to Splash starting said, when I described it, who in their right mind is going to watch that? And it's true. Fair enough, it got 5 million. 5 million dibs.
But I think that was out of curiosity, and there wasn't a lot else on.
Yeah, I don't think it will get that next week.
Every show does just well first time round. It's curiosity. Now they know what it's about, they're not going to want to watch it. Speaking of which, Gary,
yes.
You were really keen before it started on Ripper Street, where it was something that excited you, trailer alone. We're now 2 episodes in.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. The honest answer is that...
Get off the
podcast. I did watch Doctor Who over Christmas. The honest answer is that I do have it saved, but bringing down that fourth wall, I'm moving in a few weeks. And my view is that I'll catch up on Ripper Street when I've moved, because I won't have
America.
Sky. I won't have... Yeah, I know. I'm going to your old place. Exchange. You have to come to it now.
Can you come and clear your socks out as well?
Sorry, you just deal with those. I hope you move the cat.
That's a cat.
Ripper Street, or whatever. Ripper Street.
That in the washing machine.
I know it was good that it started in between Christmas and New Year, but for me, I just wasn't. As I said, I kind of caught up over Christmas and all the stuff that I was struggling to watch in December, like The Killing and Homeland and Chicago Fire and things like that.
Easter, then, will you, Gary?
Yeah, exactly.
By
so I'll get to it by Easter.
This podcast will be so current, you won't even remember what Ripper Street is, people.
But it doesn't matter. You watched it, so
you watched it. You already got American on me.
You watched it, partner.
And also, Matt, you've been a keen advocate of Mr. Selfridge. On Twitter on Sunday night, it was a mixed bag, but what I found was that people either loved it or thought, no, this wasn't for me. And a lot of people were in my camp saying, when's Jeremy Piven going to sing?
Yeah.
I mean, at any moment he could have just burst into something out of a musical event.
His performance was very theatrical, and I said to you on Twitter, I went to see it, the screening, and Jeremy Piven was sat one row in front of me.
I reckon you're still a little bit...
I am a bit...
You're thinking that he'll be able to pick up on your
voice. He'll be listening.
Oh, no, the Pipster. The Pipster loves the podcast.
The Pipster. But no, I mean, it is... Going back to... Like you said about Ripper Street, in your review on the website, it isn't your typical Sunday night programme. It's very dark, and it's very...
Yeah.
Both Ripper Street and Mr. Selfridge are very well produced, and in the terms of Mr. Selfridge, it's very nice to look at. And, well, it is, and it also has got a lot of different storylines. So if you don't
like a 99 ice cream, in my opinion.
How do you think it's done in comparison to the one that was on the BBC before Christmas?
The Paradise.
I think from the responses I've got, a lot of people preferred the Paradise.
Oh, I wouldn't say. I would say I prefer Mr. Selfridge. I thought the Paradise... I think Mr. Selfridge didn't take itself as seriously.
And you're not just saying that for the Pipster?
Not for the Pipster, no. I like certain things about the Paradise, but I found it a bit dull. With Mr. Selfridge, it seems more... There's a lot more going on.
Did ITV make the right choice in holding this back so that it didn't go up at the same time as the Paradise?
I don't think so.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did hold it back.
I think they did.
Well, we heard rumours.
We'll have an argument
that they had put it back.
I think possibly, and I will have to settle this argument because I know the people that work on the press in the Paradise, so I'm going to have to settle this argument at one point. But I heard that the BBC wouldn't let ITV show Mr. Selfridge until the Paradise had been on. So I don't know what the answer is there. But most of the people that contacted me about it said, I think I prefer the Paradise.
Oh, okay. Well,
And
I
that
think
might
we'll
have
have
been-
to wait until both have been shown in their
Yeah.
entirety, though. I think we have to give Mr. Selfridge its due course. When are they
Interesting
bringing
that-
out Mr. Marks and Spencer's?
I said on Twitter, Mr. Argos, I'll be watching.
Mr. Little. That'll be on Channel 5
Little and
in
large.
the summer.
But what I would say about Mr. Selfridge is I quite like the storyline, concerning the Aisling Loftus character and the
You know how we feel about Mrs. Loftus.
Miss Ms. Loftus.
Ms. Loftus.
And
Is that the woman out of Coronation Street?
No.
no,
Okay.
She's-
I've not
she's
seen it, so...
the girlfriend from Good Cop. The
Oh, okay,
ex-girlfriend
cool.
from Good Cop, yeah. She plays this a shop girl who Mr. Selfridge sees a lot of potential in, and she might be like a good window dresser.
Right.
But I think
good window.
her storyline is a lot more easy to follow and a lot more sort of likable, I think, than maybe.
I think you're absolutely right. She grounds the program, but it goes a bit manic and it goes a
Part
bit
of the
mad.
program.
Exactly. Also, I think Sunday nights on ITV, good night. I don't advocate it if you're going to work on Monday morning, but good night for a good drinking game on a Sunday night. You have a sip of something every time somebody there says Mr. Selfridge. You will be
Ooh, Mr.
knocked out
Selfridge.
by the first break.
You won't be able to get up the next morning,
know.
will you?
It is a bit. Are you being served at times?
Yes.
How much have Selfridges paid to have this programme put on?
I don't think they have. It's based on a book, so
It is based on a book, and it's adapted by Andrew Davis, who did Little Dorrit and Bleak House and Pride and Prejudice.
So I'm guessing at some point Selfridges... I mean, surely they must be advertising at least
they
during
should
the show.
sponsor it, shouldn't they? At least.
Well, at least put some adverts on. I
I
don't
think
Selfridges
they've
do
had.
advertise.
I'm just trying to remember now back to the screening, and
What
they
did
did
the
ask.
Pipster say?
And they did ask.
To say.
They did ask this question to the production team, and I think they had some involvement, obviously, in using the name and things like that. But obviously,
Yeah.
they aren't shooting it in Selfridges or anything.
And
like
I did
that.
see
No, because it doesn't
I
look
did
any
see
of
the
the same,
Pipster on This Morning the other day, being interviewed, and he did say they recreated Selfridges as it was in Neasden, and that the current Selfridges owners came and had a look round and gave the thumbs up. But the Pipster didn't say anything else about. Do you reckon this could catch on?
Are you stalking the Pivster?
I don't know. I want to now.
And why are you watching This Morning?
You don't
I mean,
have a nickname for Matt yet, but the Pipster's all sorted.
it's certainly in the good regions. What Surge?
No, Pipster.
No,
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 we'll
Surge
work on
isn't
it.
good enough. No,
So,
fair enough.
just to sum up, ratings-wise, Mr. Selfridge blew ITV just into another stratosphere. Ratings-wise, over 8 million tuned in for Mr. Selfridge. But saying that, Ripper Street maintained healthy 5.5 million.
I think
a lot
as
of
well.
people thought that was going down, didn't they?
Yeah, I think as well it had Mr. Selfridge had a good lead in from Dancing on Ice as well. Obviously,
true, yeah.
they've got their big Sunday night lineup on ITV now with Dancing on Ice and with.
Did anyone
Family
else?
Fortunes.
I suppose we're not. Can we go on to talk about Dancing on Ice and how much ITV have lost out by the fact that the star of the show has been voted out in week one?
Although saying that, I read today that they were paying her £1,000 a second. So maybe
the
not.
hamster now.
The Pamster, yeah.
Do you know
the
what?
twins.
Do you know, I saw her on This Morning as well. This show should be sponsored by This Morning. I saw her on it, and I just loathed her with every ounce of my being. She's just... I couldn't care less that she's
The thing
gone.
was, I saw all the. I didn't see a lot of Dancing on Ice. I saw a little bit of it. I thought, I'll see who's on it and see if I recognise anyone.
Yeah.
And as you say, and fair enough, half the cast I really am kind of like, yeah, who.
The Pamster.
Yeah, and I thought, okay, clearly they're not. And I said when she was up against Keith Chegwin in the dance off or the skate off, whatever it's called.
To be fair,
Dive
we
off.
never thought we'd see that, did we?
Chegwin.
Just
I
them on the
thought-
same
Chegwin
billing.
and Pamela
Yeah.
Anderson.
I was just
That's a
like,
great
surely they're going to get rid of. They're going to fix this to get rid of. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, though, this is why Channel 4 also missed a trick cancelling Wife Swap. Because who wouldn't want to see Keith Chegwin and Pamela Anderson together on that sort of a situation?
Are either of them married?
I don't... we can organise that if they're not.
Pamela Anderson was married.
Oh yeah. So was
she still
Cheggers,
is.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
to that one off Swap Shop.
Well
and
organised.
Philby.
And I also want to see.
I got a name right.
Yeah, well
Sorry.
done.
Yeah.
I also want to see Joe Pasquale and Pamela Anderson swap as well. That would be.
I don't think that'd be any good.
But
I think they...
Dancing on Ice is another one. It's not a surprise it's back. January is always the time of year for that because it's got ice in and it's the coldest time of year.
Did they not just freeze over the swimming pool from Splash and just use?
I reckon they did. I reckon Joe.
Next week they're going to dive in to the ice. Yeah. That'll make the show better.
Well done. Yeah, genuine electric excitement there if that happened.
So they're going to cover over the water and put an electric charge in. I'm looking forward to it.
But are you Gary and are you Matt? Is there anything not coming up in 2013 because there's a lot coming, but coming up either next week or the week after that you are genuinely excited about?
Well, I'm excited about the return of Borgen.
Have you not watched it yet?
I've not watched it yet,
okay.
But I'm excited because what I've read says it's very good. And again,
Is
I'm
your
saving
TV
it.
Working?
No, I'm moving. I'm packing, and I've got things to do.
Can't be gardening till after 9. It's dangerous. You're old.
Shall I just mention Borgen quickly as I have seen it?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, you should because you're the only one of us that watches telly, Matt. So off you go.
I would say, and Gary can back me up on this, that it was, I thought, the strongest of the Danish imports last year, just because.
Yes.
It didn't focus on a murder mystery or anything like that. It focused strongly on the characters, and this series sort of continues. It's a year into the prime ministerial reign of is it
States ministerial?
State minister, and the confusing
You're gonna do that.
the confusing thing actually, Gary, is that in the first episode of the new series of Borgen, the actor who played the States minister in The Killing, the last series, is in. Borgen.
Yes, yeah, I read.
That's
I
gonna
read that
mess
somewhere.
with your
So it,
mind.
it did mess with me a little bit. But the first episode is all about the Danish troops in Afghanistan, and it is a really powerful first episode.
What I loved about the first series was that it was a Danish West Wing. Those of you that are fans of the West Wing, and I believe that...
again. It's early on in 2013.
Get it in quick. Well, you've not mentioned Jimmy McGovern yet, so I've got to get it in quick before you start mentioning it. Yeah.
I love Jimmy McGovern.
There we go.
Okay,
and I think what's good is that, again, from what I've read, they are looking at those storylines of what's worked in a political programme. You know, and troop movement and Afghanistan are topics that have got a lot of mileage in them.
And I mean, there's
the Danish the thick of it yet.
No.
And there's all the stuff about her family as well, and obviously her husband, and she still hasn't signed the divorce papers. And then there's the stuff with the journalist girl as well, Katrina, and she's now working for the.
I thought you were going to say "and the waves" then.
Waves.
Yeah.
Katrina and the Danes. Yeah, but it is very strong, one of the strongest programs on TV, and I say the first two episodes.
Isn't that a shame though that the only thing that you're both looking forward to is a Danish? I know they're the.
No. That was the first one. If you'd like the next one, I'm very much looking forward to Endeavour. I've been saying that for ages.
Yeah, that's not coming for a while yet.
No, I know. That's the thing. They've pushed it back because of Lewis being on, so they don't want to show another Morse thing whilst Lewis is on.
Yeah, but can I just say, when I said at the beginning that I look forward to, the start of a new year, if we compare the start of this year to the start of last year, we had Sherlock and we had Endeavour.
Yeah.
This year just hasn't had that impact on me yet. Things I'm happy to have back, but on the whole, I'm not, excited.
One that I'm looking forward to next week is the Channel 4 drama Utopia. It just looks like something
what to make of that.
Something very different. And when I went to Channel 4 for the Homeland premiere,
you stop dropping things.
I
went to see the Pipster. I went to Channel 4.
The representative.
I was on Jim will Fix It.
What?
The representative from Channel 4 said that was the sort of their big drama out of everything, out of like Everyday and Secret State and The Fear. This was the big.
I'm a little bit worried because I'm not even sure I understand the premise.
I think it's one that you just have to sort of go with and have a watch of it, and that starts next week. I think on Monday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Essential.
Okay, I've got the two heavy hitters. Okay,
yeah.
I've got the heavy hitter. All right.
Be careful with them because you're clumsy.
Indeed, I'm going to drop a name to you now. I got retweeted by the director of The Following, which
The
is
Following
coming
what?
up. The television show called The Following. After I went to see it at the Sky event.
Is
that
the
you sent me
following?
to.
Is he following you? The following?
He's,
or
he's
you
not
following
following
him?
me, but no, it's and I got retweeted by James Purfoy
Okay.
as well after I went to see the premiere at the Sky event, and that's coming up in a few weeks' time on Sky Atlantic, and that is seriously good.
If we're doing this,
Yeah,
I once walked past Keith Chegwin.
well done. I once had lunch with Paul McCartney. Well, I
Who?
was having lunch and he walked past me in the park, so technically we were having lunch.
Yeah, and my parents once almost ran over Rita from Coronation Street. So there you go.
What stopped them?
And I sat next to Sandy Toksvig, but
Yes,
I didn't
you
know it
did.
was her. I didn't know it was her until the end.
Hey.
Anyway, we have 10 minutes left. Let me tell you that
You
the
are
following is a serial killer extraordinaire film. It's the closest thing to a television version of Seven that I've seen in a very, very long time. It's excellent. It stars Kevin Bacon, but please don't let that put you off. He is actually very good in it. James Purfoy is the British bad guy, and it's brilliant. It's going to be at Sky Atlantic in about 2-3 weeks' time, and I'd highly, highly recommend it.
I feel like we've moaned a lot, and I feel like our job is to recommend great television, and there is
Yeah.
one show on that I really do get a good laugh and some enjoyment on. It's on Channel 4. It's on Sundays. If you haven't seen The Hotel, please, it's not.
Really?
It's
Oh, you
not
love
what
that,
you're
don't you?
thinking.
Yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious. It is better than any sitcom, not only on TV at the moment, but on TV in the last 5-6 years. It is so funny and so genuine, and just a real good laugh.
There have been some little gems. Matt and I saw some stuff on CITV, which you may not have known had its own channel. Had a nostalgia weekend, didn't it?
Yeah,
where they
has
looked
Sweep
at,
from Sooty and Sweep recovered from the hacking scandal?
I believe he has, and Sue
Right.
is mopping his brow.
Sooty was doing it though. That's the scary thing.
Yeah.
He got all this heavy breathing on the line, couldn't work out what it was.
So CITV, the home of Press Gang, Nightmare,
Nightmare.
Children's
Funhouse.
Ward, yeah,
Funhouse.
all these things were shown on the CITV, and I did read today that the CITV channel had its highest viewing figures
Oh
ever.
God, yeah. You could just see it on Saturday all day on Twitter. It was trending, and you
Yeah,
could
exactly,
just see
and-
people talking about it. And I mean, I made time to watch, some of my favourite programs.
What did you enjoy the most? What sort of did you watch and go, yeah, I could watch this again?
I think the two would be Nightmare, just because it goes a lot of memories from my youth, and also
Yeah.
Press Gang, because that was a sort of proper a good series, and obviously
I genuinely don't remember Nightmare.
Nightmare was it was great, and it still looks quite. It still didn't look too dated, did it? Because it
No.
looked so fresh. Then actually, the graphics didn't look too bad.
it was sort of a CGI, would you say, computer graphics dungeon.
Yeah.
It had one
Oh, I
kid
think
each
I do.
week, wore a helmet, went round, was guided by three of their friends.
I do remember that.
And
I didn't know it was
effectively,
called
it was-
Nightmare.
Yeah, and they had kind of characters, larger than life characters in the game that came
Lord
in and
Fear.
out. That's right. Yeah, and the jester and things like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, it was a bit slow and a bit tepid at times if the teams weren't very good. But when the teams were good, and they moved through the levels quite quickly, it was quite entertaining.
Well, that's what they
And yeah,
showed on the Saturday one, wasn't it? They
Yeah,
had a
it was-
winning
was-
team.
Yeah, and then Press Gang, written by Stephen Moffat of Doctor Who and Sherlock fame. And you can see where he cut his teeth. The only thing I've forgotten about was how annoying Julia Sawala's voice was in this.
And Dexter
But-
Fletcher's American accent.
Yeah, but he kind of lived with that throughout his life, so
I
it wasn't
forgot how
too Dick
bleak
Van Dyke.
The last episode was. Did you watch
I
the
didn't
last
watch
one?
that. No, but there were two bleak episodes. The last one, and then when Dexter Fletcher got hit when he got the one where he was alone in the shop that had been destroyed, and it was just him and the voice of the girl he never saw.
I really didn't think in 2013 we'd be talking about Press Gang, but there you go.
But
Can I just say, I
there
want
is
a
some
new,
good
I want a
knowledge
new feature on the podcast this year.
Right.
And we're going to try and see. I'm going to come up with the first one each week on the podcast. Towards the end, as we're approaching now, I want us to share with the people who listen, the people who download, one thing we've learnt from TV this week. Right? So I'm going to let Matt do it next week. Just one thing we learnt from TV in the week. And my thing was, I learnt this last night, and I'm going to share it with you, and hopefully it'll treat you well for the rest of your life. Don't eat lasagna while watching a BBC4 documentary about a fertility clinic.
Oh, did you watch that?
Yes.
I did what I watched 5 minutes after Only Connect and realised that this wasn't going to be good for me.
Yeah. So please, that's what if that's on again, don't have lasagna. I found particularly bad.
Maybe any foodstuffs.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It might have worked all right with a bit of lettuce, but
don't watch BBC4 and eat at the same time is what we're saying.
Well, for those sort of
I was having my
documentaries,
tea while I was watching Only Connect, and that's all right. I think
that's fine.
It's a bit late. God. 8:30? What's that about?
Yeah. So yeah, but we will do one of those each week.
Oh, you don't want me to do one now then?
No, just one a
Okay,
week.
fine.
Things we've learned during that week.
So homework is it?
By the telly.
Right.
That's just something. It can be. I mean, that thing. I think I'm going to change some lives with that.
Can I do 30 seconds on Celebrity Big Brother?
Yeah, I was
Yes.
going to mention that as well.
Yes.
We've both been watching, haven't we?
It launched on the Thursday of last week, and it just seems like it feels like it's been on for a long time, and in fact
Yeah.
it's only been on for less than a week.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm really enjoying this one
Yeah, I think.
Why are you enjoying it so much?
because there's nothing else on.
Yeah,
It's
I
on
would
every-
agree with that. I think there's a mixture of sort of like mental characters, like Paula Hamilton, who we've both mentioned on Twitter,
She's
who's like
wonderful,
this
though.
aging model who famous. I think most people will remember her best in the "Take That, How Deep Is Your Love" video where she killed Gary Barlow. But she's just she wanted to relaunch her career, and she's
What does she mean relaunch it?
Well,
Yes.
she said yesterday she wanted to showcase her things, and I think she means like a clothing line or perfumes or something. I don't know. Or
And
range of-
the other big characters are Spencer and Heidi from the American reality show Spidey from The Hills, who are just treating Big Brother like some sort of military exercise.
He's
and-
awful and controlling, and I really,
And she looks a lot
really
older
hope...
than 26. She's only 26, and she's had so much horrible plastic surgery.
Yeah.
I mean,
She is as fake as anything. The conversation she had with Claire from Steps, who is great, about
Although
how much I
yeah.
love you and I love your cooking, I was cringing through the whole thing.
And Claire does a lot of cooking and eats vegetables.
You wonder why I left the country. Honestly.
But the
who you
best
enjoy
thing-
though, in there the most? Who's your favourite?
I quite like Razor.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
He just
Razor-
says it. He says it as it is.
Yeah.
And actually, and I'm going to hate myself for saying this.
Rylan.
Yeah,
no, I agree. I
And
think
I do. I hate it, but actually, one
I'll
thing
see
we
you
did
next
learn
week. I think I better go.
Yeah,
I'll see you
no,
next week.
And
but
also,
something we learned this from X Factor.
Yeah.
He might not be able to sing, but he was quite funny.
yeah, and I think we sort of warmed to him on X Factor. He's become quite endearing on this, and
He's a bit of
also
a
I
Dave
just have to
Goody
say,
character.
as a big Neighbours fan, just Toadie being in it. I know he hasn't done a
Yeah.
lot, but he's just
Fair enough.
he's quite he likes to mock himself, but I
And
just
you-
say because Paula and Spidey are both up for nomination. I think if they
Stop.
go.
Oh,
Then-
said we wouldn't be long.
Then it's just going to be like Gillian Tailforth and Toadie playing charades like it was last night.
Do-
If you want, like me, to abuse Matt and Gary on Twitter for their comments tonight, you can get in touch with Matt on Twitter using this information.
This information
Off your
at Matt's TV Bites, and Matt is spelled with 2 T's. I haven't changed it to Serge just yet.
You should. And Gary, if you want to shout at him for liking Rylan as much as I would like to, you can get in touch with him here.
At the Gary Show.
And for
One
me,
word.
it's at Luke Custard TV. 2013, not been a great TV couple of weeks, but we can only go better from here. There's only
Although-
4 episodes of Splash left, for
A
example.
little fact: 2013, the first year to have 4 different numbers since 1987. So there you go. Little fact for you.
We need more facts on the show. We make
So
everything.
that's 2 new features next week. What have you learnt from telly? And I'll do a fact. Yeah. Matt will do what have you learnt, and I'll do a fact.
Okay, so Matt does what have you learned, and you do a fact.
Yeah.
And you can't steal the what have you learned because it has to be what you have learned.
I think that's fairly implied.
I've got another
Right,
fact for you. I've got
sentence.
another
Otherwise-
fact for you. Quickly.
Otherwise, it's what did Luke learn last week?
Can I share a quick fact with
Yeah.
you?
In the minute that we have left, yes, you can.
6 out of 7 dwarves aren't happy.
What of the 7 doors from the TV show?
Yes.
How much dwarf interviewing have you done to get that information?
No, 6 out of 7 dwarves aren't happy.
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
got
know, but how many dwarves have you spoken to?
doesn't. Don't worry. We'll see you next week. It's the Custard TV Live. You can get all the latest TV news and gossip from thecustardtv.com. And we've got upcoming reviews of ITV's Lewis and the latest TV Week to get you up to date with what's coming up next week on the Telly Box. Keep in touch.
We forgot the giggles.
Well, we'll try next week. It's too... You're right, Matt.
I should have reminded you earlier, sorry.
That's okay. Take care. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Gary. Back next week for the Custard TV Live.
Do I just press stop?
Yeah,
we've
just
still got 20
go,
seconds.
go, just go. Go.
Just go. Yep. So I'm just going to find the stop button. Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, go.
Stop. There's still. I can't do it.
Oh,
There's still 10 seconds.
just go.
Let me do it. I can't.
Bye.
Matt, what are you doing? Anything interesting?
What, now?
Yeah.
Listening to you.
So no.